She's a wonderful woman. I think she's a powerful force of good and positive energy.
But she ain't no Elon.
But she also brought us Dr. Oz and The Secret. We have to remember what this lady has done.
She has to be held accountable.
I forgive her, but I mean, cut the The Secret is a particularly egregious offense.
What, you don't believe? You don't believe?
Believe?
I want to be rich. I am rich.
I imagine myself flying. I can fly. I will beat my wings until I take off.
If the name Oprah still makes you think wisdom, warmth, and free giveaways, Joe Rogan and Megyn Kelly are here to smash that picture pieces. Rogan's firing off blunt truths like kettlebells. Kelly's slicing through the media glitter, and Oprah's looking like her book club just got canceled mid-meeting. What did they say that rattled the talk show queen's polished empire? Buckle up. This takedown's juicier than any Oprah couch confession, and there are no commercial breaks.
I used to love Oprah, like most of us who grew up when we did. And only now did I realize I've been getting spoon-fed propaganda from this woman for years. I always took her little setup packages as gospel. Before I was a reporter, I never even thought to question whether Oprah might be intentionally misleading me. Then last night, the dawn came and I was like, oh my God, she is not a reporter. She's a propaganda.
Picture standing on a mountain of kale smoothies, jade eggs, and a small army of spiritual advisors, yet still missing basic common sense. That's Oprah's empire in a nutshell, where feelings outrank facts and every solution comes wrapped in a vision board slogan. Joe Rogan and Megyn Kelly didn't just raise questions. They blasted the whole thing into a smoking crater of overhyped self-help fluff.
Rogan is calling out Oprah and Michelle Obama for hypocritical speeches at the DNC. Watch.
She's up there talking about income inequality. Like, hey, lady.
Yeah, I know.
You're rich as Like, how is that equal? And also, when Michelle Obama was saying, I think she was saying her mother or grandmother was always suspicious of people who took more than they needed.
Yes.
Like, you are worth so much money.
Take more than they need. The Obamas have 4 mansions.
I mean, it's a bunch of rich people talking about rich.
Rogan didn't show up swinging fists. He came armed with a steel chair labeled logic. Megyn Kelly followed with a flamethrower marked accountability. It was like tossing a TED Talk into a wood chipper. For years, Oprah has been sold as the nation's emotional GPS, but her signal's dead. All it spits out is believe in yourself before driving straight into traffic. And we clapped. We bought the books. We sipped the overpriced Moonwater Kool-Aid, laced with pseudoscience and wrapped in feel-good glitter.
What's up?
Yeah.
It was one of the more I want to say disturbing, but it was confusing when that was taking hold of people. When I had friends that were telling me that The Secret is real and that they imagined they were going to fulfill these childhood dreams they had about whatever, being a fucking astronaut, whatever it would be. There's a couple people that I knew that were trying to tell me that The Secret was going to be the thing and that they had a vision board and they had photographs. They put pictures up of the things that they wanted. Like them in front of large crowds and shit. I'm like, oh boy.
Them in front of large crowds.
This is so not how it works.
Then Rogan, the cage-fighting philosopher, finally said what no one else would. So, no one's going to point out this is basically a high-functioning con game with sparkle. Kelly didn't hesitate. Heels on, earrings off, diving in like she'd been waiting her entire career to torch the nonsense.
Did you see the Oprah interview?
No.
She's off the rails.
Yeah.
Off the rails.
I heard about it.
Into fucking wine mom country again.
Wow.
I'm a gun owner. Tim Walz is a gun.
I know that.
If somebody breaks in my house, they're getting shot.
Yes. I hear that.
Tim Dillon is the best. Tim Dillon's like, she's saying gypsy curses. What is she saying?
When was the last time Oprah actually spent time hanging out with a working class person in America? She's on her Montecito estate with one of the most beautiful mansions known to man. Mm-hmm. And that is why she did not follow up with Kamala Harris in response to that stupid gun question with, well, you're on camera saying that you favor mandatory gun buybacks. So how would that work? The Oprah enthusiasm worked when it was...
Let's talk about the circus acts Oprah launched. Remember Dr. Oz? Her hand-picked Franken-scientist who went from daytime TV to political wannabe like Ascension Whole Foods aisle. Rogan's eyebrow shot so high it nearly left Earth's orbit. This was her guy, the man hawking raspberry ketones like they were vibranium. Then there's Dr. Phil, the Southern Fried life coach with a PhD in whatever Oprah says I am. Kelly went for the jugular, pointing out Oprah's couch therapist's biggest skill was yelling at teenagers on daytime TV while Oprah nodded like it was healing. Rogan and Kelly peeled back the layers of affirmations to reveal the machine underneath. Branding, manipulation, and live your truth slogans designed to end at the checkout counter with a $39 essential oil. And the book club? The empire built by someone who once pushed The Secret, Manifest Your Way to Miracles bestseller that practically told cancer patients to vibe their tumors away. Rogan was livid. You put that in the national spotlight?
Yeah, so let's think of when The Secret came out. I want to say that was like 2006-ish.
2004.
2006,
Nice.
okay. So 12 years ago, she was 50 years old. How the fuck do you not know when you're 50 years old and worth $1 billion that that's not how it works?
That it's hocus pocus.
Yeah, it's not hocus pocus.
Yeah.
And to sell that to people is crazy. And that's a book that sold, I think I was reading, it sold somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 million copies.
Wow.
Is that what it says, yeah?
Jeez.
That's crazy.
Kelly didn't just raise an eyebrow. She raised the entire standard for calling out hypocrisy. Here's a woman who sold Think Your Way Out of Poverty to people who needed policy, not pep talks, yet somehow rebranded herself as the conscience of America. Same person who filled daytime TV with tear-filled theatrics now wants to be the Dalai Lama of brunch. Rogan couldn't believe we forgot this is the same host who once aired I Married My Horse and called it programming. Then there's the political pivot. Because nothing says relatable like a billionaire from a private vineyard telling you which candidate feels right in her spirit. Kelly crossed her arms and gutted the illusion. Oprah has more money than the GDP of some countries, but still pretends she understands economic struggle. The only inflation she knows is the markup on her chai candles. And yes, those exist. Rogan's final blow? Oprah sells herself as above media bias, when her career is a masterclass in emotional propaganda, wrapped in cashmere, lit by scented candles.
Trying to shove messaging down my throat of whatever she believes, not what's real. So, you remember she did that kind of factual interview after the, quote, documentary of Michael Jackson?
Yes.
That was so dishonest.
Yes.
She did not raise any of those accusers' serious compromising facts when she had them right there. Maybe they're telling the truth, maybe they're not. But as a journalist, you have to at least ask. You know, you've got multiple lawsuits against this estate, sir. Might that be an incentive to lie?
Kelly was nodding so hard you'd think her neck was in danger. Her take: Oprah is the bias, soft lighting, clapping audiences, sob stories polished into moral theater. Then came this spiritual entourage. Eckhart Tolle mumbling about presence like he forgot his own name, and Deepak Chopra handing out vague wisdom that could double as horoscopes. Rogan nearly fell out of his chair. This was marketed as enlightenment? Kelly went nuclear, accusing Oprah of selling inner peace like bath bombs while ignoring the actual policies causing suffering. And Oprah's influence? It's everywhere. TV, podcasts, documentaries, foundations. She's franchised mystic capitalism so effectively that every time someone lights a scented candle and journals about gratitude instead of paying rent, she probably adds another wing to her estate. Rogan summed it up. Her whole career has been telling people to trust their gut, even when that gut is flat out wrong. At some point, it's not intuition. It's just gas and denial.
You've got these accusations against him. You had a book that you were supposed to produce about Michael Jackson in the context of litigation where you were required to turn this stuff over, and you lied saying that you didn't have it. And you only got found out because Random House and these other publishers admitted you shopped it to them and turned over the metadata to Michael Jackson's estate. This guy, my point is simply, this one accuser was very compromised, and she had him right after the documentary. It aired on HBO right after. Didn't ask a question. Then she gets Meghan Markle. That was another propaganda.
Then came the weight loss saga. Kelly almost broke the sarcasm meter. Decades of body positivity, only to start shilling weight loss drugs like they were a next skincare line. Did she find self-love or a better sponsor? Rogan laughed so hard he sounded like a busted motorcycle. The message? You're perfect as you are until the money says otherwise. The crowd ate it up because Oprah's empire is a skyscraper of contradictions. She's the authentic queen who's choreographed every public moment since 1986. The truth advocate who once gave airtime to people claiming smoothies cure cancer. The moral compass who always manages to be on the profitable side of every movement. Rogan and Kelly didn't break news. They just said out loud what everyone's been thinking, without sugarcoating and with a chainsaw. And it needed saying, because Oprah's been floating above criticism for years, like a wisdom fairy in a private jet. Question her, you're a hater. Challenge her brand, you're not aligned. Rogan and Kelly didn't align. They exposed, attacked, and left her motivational empire smoldering.
My point is coming from the other way. She had the accusers there, and the accusers may or may not have had this experience with Michael Jackson.
Oh, you're talking about the HBO doc?
Yes.
Yes.
But she failed to bring up prior inconsistencies in their stories that really did compromise their stories. I don't know what happened.
I understand what you're saying.
So I'm just saying, as a journalist, which she purports to be,
right,
it was a complete fail.
Right.
And then she committed the same failure with Meghan Markle,
yes,
where she didn't press any of her claims of racism in the royal family.
Mm-hmm.
And now we have the ultimate culmination of her journalistic failure.
Kelly dropped the mic with, at some point, you're not a media mogul. You're just a billionaire lifestyle blogger with cult status. Rogan doubled down, saying she sold wellness the way McDonald's sells salads. Looks healthy until you check the label. That was the roast. No theatrics. No gotchas, just two people standing in the rubble of a glitter-coated empire asking, how do we let this slide for so long? Strip away the candles, soft piano, and slow-motion tears, and all that's left is an empire built on vibes with real-world consequences. Somewhere along the line, it stopped being media and started looking like a luxury hallucination. Rogan and Kelly weren't just pointing fingers. They were peeling off the facade like cheap wallpaper in a mansion of delusion. Underneath, a full-blown self-help Ponzi scheme with candles. Oprah didn't just build a brand. She built a belief system where she's both the prophet and the product. And the hypocrisy is 5-star. This is a woman who preaches authenticity while only appearing under lighting so soft it should come with a permission slip. She sells vulnerability wholesale while hiding behind PR thicker than Pentagon security. Rogan shook his head, half disgusted, half impressed. She's got more protection around her image than Fort Knox has for gold.
Oprah didn't help by sort of saying it's cheating. What do you mean it's cheating? It's a drug that helps people control their appetite. How is that cheating? So she was probably on the wrong side of things when she was saying that. And now I think she was sort of forced to admit, because as you say, it's obvious. Somebody like Oprah, who's constantly up and down with the weight and hasn't been on the skinnier side for a long time. And then suddenly, after this miracle drug comes out, like, we know. But she's still a spokesperson for Weight Watchers. And I guess she's going to still tell us that the point system is really what's behind the weight.
Kelly didn't even blink. She's seen elite spin before, and Oprah's is Olympic level. 1 minute she's barefoot in a meadow, whispering about healing. The next, she's charging 5 figures for retreats that are basically group therapy with cucumber water, spirituality, sponsored. Then there's the performance, the crying, the soulful stares, the pauses so long they could be their own podcast episode. Rogan couldn't hold it in. Was this personal growth or just Oscar-worthy marketing? Every tear, every confession, every special is just another brick in a cathedral of self-worship disguised as public service. Oprah doesn't have fans. She has disciples. And they thank her for the privilege. Every ounce of manipulation is wrapped in velvet and gratitude. People weep in her presence like enlightenment comes with a promo code. Kelly didn't flinch. Fake humility is bad, but fake activism is worse. One moment she's crying about injustice. The next she's posing in a $12,000 coat on her vineyard, talking about oppression. Kelly's face stayed stone cold, pure surgical takedown mode.
When she first hit the scene in like the 1980s and she was fresh out of Chicago, she was in Chicago for the launch of her national talk show. She was something electric and interesting and authentic, you know. I miss fat Oprah. She was just genuine. Now this thin Ozempic Oprah has lost, along with the pounds, her heart, her sense of authenticity. And what we're getting these days is this cleansed, elite, billionaire version who wants to scrub the record.
Then came the pivot, Oprah's new era. Less book club, more politics. Why stop at healing when you can handpick the people running the country? Rogan was floored. She launched Dr. Oz and Dr. Phil into the world. And now she's playing political kingmaker? That's like lighting a match and blaming the fire for burning the house down. And her favorite move? Selective silence. When her experts implode or her wellness advice goes sideways, she vanishes. No apology, no correction, just a quiet retreat to the nearest yurt for reflection. Rogan and Kelly called it what it is, strategic disappearing. Oprah is not held to the same standard as the rest of media because she's wrapped her empire in soft affirmations and designer empathy. For years, nobody wanted to be the one to say, the Empress has no ethical wardrobe. But Rogan and Kelly lit the incense of accountability and watched the illusion curl into smoke. Peel back every polished layer of her empire, and you're left with the truth. It was never about awakening you.